I'm going to do cuttings of this Chatuscantia zebrina, this Peperomia obtusifolia. I'm not going to cut this Fittonia, but I am going to repot it into a smaller pot so that it just looks prettier. I had this filled with cuttings at some point and only about half of them made it, so I'm just going to transfer those to a smaller pot. Then I have this unknown succulent. I saved this, it's on my Instagram. I saved this from a Home Depot. It was like just one of these bunches, completely uprooted, had no dirt, it was just lying there. I don't think it even had roots. It was just a piece of plant lying on a shelf, so I took it, and this is going to be the second time I'm cutting it. But it's just getting really leggy, so I want to cut it to make it less. And I'm also going to majorly cut this Pilea, Peperomoides. And I have a story about this plant, so maybe I'll tell you that while I'm doing all this. And I also just got this Hoya from Home Depot. It was a much bigger plant. I split it with my sister. But it's my first Hoya ever. And I know people are always saying don't overwater it. So I used really well draining soil. And I just gave it like a very light water when I repotted it, but the soil hasn't dried. That was like, I don't know, a week ago or something. So I'm gonna just take this out, and I think I'm even gonna separate some out for the plant swap. And then just check on the roots of the rest of the plant. And I think that's it. Okay, let's start. I think I'm going to do the easy one. I'm just going to transfer this Fittonia into a smaller pot. I'm just going to take out all the dead stuff. Wow, these roots are still really thin. I thought they'd be longer than that. Wow. This is crazy. I see almost no roots, but the plant seems to be doing fine unless I just rip them out from the ground. But I don't think so. I don't think I injured roots if there were any. Oh, this one has some. I know you definitely can't see it that far away. So that one has some. But look at this. Sorry. I don't know how to use a camera. That one doesn't have roots, but it has all this new growth. So weird. Didn't expect that. So Fittonias are also called a nerve plant. I don't know how many years ago, maybe like 7 years ago, I had one of these. And it was the one with pink veins. So pretty, so cute, but I had no idea how to take care of plants. And so I had a nerve plant, which if any of you have had one, hold on, my chopstick. If any of you have had one, you know that they're not very easy to take care of because they require very high humidity. The leaves are so fragile. Oops, as I dump dirt on them. So yeah, it's no surprise I killed that thing. One of the other first plants I ever had was some sort of fern and also a bonsai. So it makes sense to me why it took me a while to get into plants, because I just happened to pick the hardest plants to take care of. And I didn't research them or anything. Kind of just treated them, I don't know, just, you know, water, probably overwatered them or underwatered them. Probably gave the fern too much sun. Yeah, so that was way long ago, but now, actually my first, or the most recent experience with plants I've had, and the reason I'm doing them now is, what was it? Oh, I was visiting my brother, who had a girlfriend that was really into air plants, and they lived in San Francisco, and I had a friend who had this huge succulent garden inside her house, and it was just both of those experiences really just, I came back from California and immediately bought like every plant I saw. Or actually it started with air plants first. Because I had so many bad experiences with other plants, but the air plants seemed like pretty friendly to take care of because there's no soil involved, so that eliminates one of the huge problems most people have. Obviously you still have to give it light and water, but I feel like the soil moisture is really what messes most people up. So air plants were a great introduction for me into other plants, and I had like so many species. I had a whole collection of them, and one by one they kind of died off, and that's kind of what air plants do. They are a bromeliad, but if any of you have a bromeliad, their life cycle is just, they'll flower, right? They flower once in their life, and then they give out pups. And that pup just slowly takes all the nutrients and basically just replaces the parent. So you never get like a plant that grows large. It just kind of propagates and then dies off, and it's just that continuous cycle. So I think that might have turned me off after a while from the air plants, because my favorite thing about plants is like starting with a tiny little baby and then watching it grow a lot. Yeah, so they're cool. I would suggest air plants to anyone that's trying to get into plants, but you do need to take care of them. So the reason most air plants die is because people think they just need air to live. So they like super underwater them. I'm sure they get enough light, but not ideal light. But people just typically just like completely dry them out. And once they dry out, you can't revive them. So it's like, it's not like a plant that takes their moisture in with roots. They use trichomes, which is on the leaves. And once it gets dehydrated to a certain point, you can't just like soak them in water and they'll revive. They kind of just like turn to mush and rot if that happens. So make sure you water your air plants. Okay, so I repotted it. I don't know if I want to give this away now. And this is the only Fittonia I have, so maybe I'll keep it. I don't know. We'll see. So I actually already I made a lot of cuttings of the Tradescantia already, but I didn't have it recorded, so I thought I'd just like cut one more. So I'll just do that. Okay, so Tradescantia zebrina. Everyone loves this plant on Instagram, because you can see why. It's very dramatic. It is the fastest growing plant I have ever seen. Faster than pothos, faster than, I don't know what's faster than pothos. It grows too fast. So this entire plant came from 2 cuttings I got off of a sidewalk in Philly. So if you go on my Instagram, you could see basically the whole premise was that I would go and find plants that were dying and take them home and revive them, if not just take a cutting. So this was one of the cuttings I took. It was like late October, it was freezing out. This thing was getting trampled on, so I just like took a pretty good cutting and brought it home. and this is what I have 6 months later. So what I was saying was it just grows so fast. I'll take a cutting and I think I took these cuttings yesterday or 2 days ago and they all have roots. It's insane. However, one thing about the Chattiscantia that I've heard is that because it's like such a fast grower, however it grows in nature, it's like ground cover normally, and it actually dies back really quickly as well. So I've heard people are not fans because of that, because they have to constantly just like cut it back and like repot to keep it bushy in the center. Otherwise the whatever's near the dirt, the oldest leaves will just like, so the vines will look very blank and leggy and like, okay. So all the cuttings I took already, I kind of left this in a very nice symmetrical shape. So I don't really want to cut it, but I'll just explain. Some of you might know this already, because if you watch one plant video, you probably already know it. But every leaf is at a node, and that is where the roots would come out of. So what you're going to do is cut it just beneath the node at a 45-degree angle. Cut off the leaf right next to it, and then just stick that in water. So I'll show you some cuttings. Let's see. Oh my god. Oh boy. So this one has, whoa. This one has roots. Okay, you can see it's super tiny white roots. So those are 2 nodes, right? And I cut just below it. Yeah, so that's just the cuttings I took. Typically on other plants, I would take more of these leaves off because they're taking a lot of energy. So they're taking energy away from the roots. So normally you would want to take out more of the foliage, but these make roots so easily, so I just leave them in for this particular plant. There you go. I don't know what I want to do next. Make coffee. Let's start with the succulent. So, not really sure what to do with this. I don't know if I want to cut them and then propagate or just repot it, but I don't know if I can repot it and get rid of the legginess. So I'm just gonna take this out for now. There it goes. Oh yeah. Oh my god. So if you watch my last video, I talk about like leggy succulents, stuff like that. I don't know if you could tell, but I just like really don't like leggy succulents. They're just so much maintenance. Like I cut this not too long ago, maybe like 2 months ago, and it's already too leggy. And it's just like, you have to constantly maintain to make it like, 1, stay in the pot, 2, look good. And also just for the benefit of the plant, like it doesn't seem like it wants to hang out of the pot. Anyway, like what? I must say succulents are amazing though, because I mean that the thing didn't even have a root and it's like has new growth. It's really cool. I don't know. I think I'm not gonna cut them. I'm just gonna repot them. Oh my god. Things are just falling apart. Why? Oh my god. See, succulents stress me out so much. What do you want to do? Shh, it's okay. Oh my lord. I should have just left it. This isn't doing anything. It looks exactly the same as before, except I just like destroyed half the plant. Oh my god. I'm so sorry, plant. I'm so sorry. I don't think that helped the plant or myself. Now we're both upset. If anyone has a suggestion for what to do with very leggy succulents when you can't or don't want to cut them, like, do you use a stake to hold them up? Do you just put it in a bigger pot so that they can lay flat on the dirt and just be leggy on the surface of the dirt? I don't know. I've never once used a utensil to repot anything, and I don't know how people do it. Like, even a basic, like, I brought this spoon just like because I see everyone using it in videos. I'm like, I'm gonna use a spoon to repot, and I completely forgot that I even had it, and like, I'm never gonna use it. I'm usually very good at repotting things, I swear. It's just succulents get me so stressed out. I don't know why. They're so fragile, you know? Like, I just broke so many leaves off, and I feel so bad about it. But they give me no choice. Okay. So, how's everyone's Monday? I work in a rock climbing gym, and on Mondays we set the walls, or, well, one wall, and it rotates. But I love Mondays because I get to set, and it's lots of fun, even though it's really hard on your body. So that was that. Alright guys, this was very embarrassing. This poor plant lost so many leaves. I'm sorry, baby. But I do think it will be bushier in like a month's time. And I just planted a bunch of the leaves in there that broke. I think it'll be okay. And I'm one to overwater, and I'm not gonna do that this time. So normally I really like watering my plants once I repot them, but considering this is succulent and there's a bunch of like rootless cuttings in there, I know I'm not supposed to water it. So I will refrain myself. But that's one of them, okay? So this is very bad, but I didn't do any research about propagating Peperomia obtusifolia, but I'm assuming it can be water propagated. Okay, I'm pretty nervous actually, because it's such a beautiful, healthy plant, and I feel like I'm destroying it by cutting it. And it has so much new growth. Alright, I think I'm only gonna do one cutting. Okay, baby. I'm so sorry. 1, 2, 3. Okay. I'm just gonna put this in water. Leave a comment if I did that completely wrong and shouldn't have done that. But I'm gonna take this bottom leaf off and just treat it like everything else that I propagate. And you know what? I'm gonna do a soil cutting. Yeah. Mostly because it's so freaking cute when you put it in the dirt and it's a little baby plant. It's all I can bear. And I'm actually gonna get this water. You guys can see how I water my plant. So it's very dry. Gotta wait for the water to go down. Okay. All right. I got this from my mom last year for Mother's Day. It was probably in a pot this size, whatever this is. What is that? 4 inches. And it cost like $35. But it had 4 pups in it, so not terrible. Anyway, so this is the mother plant, and around September of last year, it was much higher. Anyway, it was tall. And she had it on some like precarious like windowsill situation. And my crazy dog basically knocked it down, and all the leaves came off except for like 4 at the top of it. And actually I have, hold on, okay. So 4 leaves on the top, and just imagine this like completely bare stem, like all the way down to the dirt. So that's what she was left with. So I cut the top off, and now it's like a brand new full plant. This used to have like 4 leaves, and you can see actually her plant was not doing well. It had these like bubbly leaves. If anyone else experiences that, leave a comment, because we couldn't figure out why it was doing that. It's like literally a mushroom. And they were kind of yellow, so we just couldn't figure it out. Anyway, so I cut the top off. That's the top. And then, because the plant had no more leaves, it just shot out like a ton of babies, or a ton of pups. And the trunk eventually just like shriveled down all the way back to the dirt. So that's why you don't see like a center trunk right now. But it used to be like up here. I think it was a blessing that my dog knocked this over, because the new leaves on this plant look healthier and just that normal thick flat leaf that it's supposed to have. It looks way better than before it got broken. Yeah, so let's take some cuttings. I almost forgot about the Hoya. So the soil should have dried up a couple days ago at least. There's a lot of charcoal in it too. Oh, maybe that's what it is. The charcoal. It's the first time I'm using charcoal, and I read somewhere that it does hold moisture. Alright, well, I'm just still gonna check on the roots, and then just mix this soil with new cactus soil and perlite. And then I'm actually gonna take, I know there's like, oh there it is. There's a little guy I can give away at the plant swap. So I'll pot that up separately and just replant this. Let's do this one to give away because the roots are really healthy looking. And we could join it. Get This thing's dead. You join it with these little guys. So it's a nice little plant. Garfield. Okay. So let's pot these little guys up first so that I have less to work with. Hopefully is happy with what I just did. Alright guys, that was a lot. Maybe I'll see some of you at this plant swap. Peace.